Good morning, fellas. I hope you're doing um, good, despite the sense of tiredness. I feel really tired, really tired inside. But the show must go on, and it is the typical end of semester. So, um, but today's pretty much the last class because next week is like just a farewell. It's like maybe I'm going to uh, get online to say goodbye and stuff like that, and check out uh, maybe one or two cases which can be, in this case, a little behind in the subject. But next week is just the makeup week or the for the receipts and stuff like that. So this is pretty much like the last actual class. And the idea is to review that mean what we don't have too much time, but we can review like some of the grammar for the last test. My original idea was to design a test on UCampus, right? As we have done before, but the coordination decided to do something different. Um, I tried to persuade the coordination to do it like do something like using UCampus or Google Forms, and stuff like that. But I wasn't lucky, and coordination decided to create a Word doc with the test. And basically, it's just I'm going to upload the Word doc on UCampus. Probably I'm going to use Tareas, and and then I'm going to upload, the again the document. You have to uh, download it, open it, do the test, like type the answers on the Word doc, and just put it back in on the campus so that I can check it. I mean, so that I can shake it. No, so that I can uh, check it out later, right? That's pretty much the route, the process. And so and that's it. So I'm going to upload the doc like right after the class, so that you can have a look at it and put your name on it. It's just like a typical format of a test or an English test. It's kind of long anyway because it's like a global test, um, and I have no idea how long the coordination is going to allow you guys to how much time the coordination wants you to or wants to give you. But no worries about that. Just if the coordination says 3 hours, just say yes. Um, but I'm gonna give you more time because, like, I understand that maybe you have more things to do, and uh, my point is that normally I give you a long time because of the pandemic situation, right? Because there are things that I don't know which can be happening at home, right? So that's why I give you like time enough to do the tests in general, right? So if the coordination says 3 hours or 8 hours, just keep it like that. Keep it like that, and then but I'm in the tool, you know, and on UCampus, I'm gonna give you like, I don't know, it's gonna start today, and maybe it's gonna, you can send me the the test until 72 hours. Yes, I don't know, right? Or the whole week. Because I need to have in my case, I need to have the averages, los promedios. I need to have them this Friday, right? This Friday. Probably I'm really gonna have them on Monday, maybe, or Sunday. Because next week, like next Monday, starts the makeup week, you know, or the receipt week. So there are no classes, and it's just to see what I told you, you know, that some complicated situations with some students, and that's it, right? I don't know if you got any questions, any comments. If not, I'm going to share with you my screen to check out the last contents before the test. And here we go. Here we go, here we go. Vale. So yesterday we were checking out primary verbs in imperatives, and also past models or perfect models. So today we should be revising direct and indirect questions. So let's start checking out some differences between direct and indirect questions, right? If you can see here, direct questions often appear in quotations or a first-person narrative, right? And versus the indirect questions, which do not appear in quotations ever. And what else? Oh yeah, direct questions use the indicative mood, and indirect questions the subjunctive mood in this case, right? You know that subjunctive is pretty much like it's very difficult for English speakers to understand this. Like, si yo fuera rico, I mean, they understand it, but it's really difficult for them to understand the grammar behind that, okay? Because we got, in Spanish, we got verbs for that. Like Spanish is more specific and more, in this case, complex than English in that sense. Si yo fuera rico, for example, in English is if I were rich, but you need to use were, which is the past form of the verb to be, right? So it's pretty much like there's a change, not in the form, but there's a change in the underlying grammar, right? So what else? Direct questions are exactly what the speaker said, right? Versus indirect questions captures the idea of the speaker, but does not use the exact words. Okay, and that's the difference. And finally, direct questions are independent clauses, and indirect questions are dependent clauses. I guess maybe you're studying that in grammar. No sé si tienen gramática, ya ni me acuerdo de la malla. Gramática 1, una cosa así. All right. Ah, Cristal dice yes. Okie dokie. Good luck with the syntax trees and everything. No sé si le han pasado árboles sintácticos. My goodness. Ya le están pasando eso. My gosh, como una tortura. Entonces dice, do you understand how to change direct questions into indirect questions? So here we go. For example, we got WH questions in this case. Where is Tondo Street? That's a typical question, you know, and all the rest, you know, direct questions in this case. What time does the supermarket open? How much do you earn? What is he doing? What's your last name? Are you living in London? Like, you know, this direct speech, which is uh, like the everyday language, you know. But indirect, in this case, questions are more elaborated, more complex, more formal, and normally belong to a different field of intellectual knowledge. And like, for example, I mean, you need to be really polite to say this. Like, can you tell me where Tondo Street is? Like, it's easier to say where is Tondo Street, but um, it's more polite, absolutely. And use and use in this case like relative pronouns or relative in this case words in the middle to connect the main clause with a dependent clause, right? Main clause, can you tell me? Dependent clause, Tondo Street is, you know. What else? And normally we use this prompts at the beginning, like, can you tell me? Do you know what time? Could you tell me? May I ask? May I know? Right? And then we connect that prompt with the rest of the sentence. You know what time the supermarket opens? Could you tell me how much you earn? May I ask what he's doing? May I know what your last name is? So you see that you can use the same question word at the beginning, and then you put it right in the middle to connect the two clauses in this section, you know, the indirect questions. And here it happens something similar, but sometimes we put it like indirect phrases, not questions. Like, for example, are you living in London? And then I'd like to know if you're living in London. So in this case, you got the same, you know, main clause plus this dependent clause, but you connect with if, this conditional in this case, word, whether, whether if plus in this case a positive word order phrase. Do you know whether John likes flying? I'm not sure if she went shopping. Can you tell me whether she was a teacher? Right? So that's pretty much the difference, you know. Normally when I use indirect phrases or indirect questions, it's because I want to be polite, really polite. Okay. So in in social English, normally is I address my speaker, which is in this case, like in a different role, a role of authority, for example. So normally, when I want to show respect to this person or group, I use indirect, in this case, speech, because the reasons that I just gave you. Could you tell me? Do you know? I'd like to know. I'd be interesting to know. May I ask? Blah, blah, blah. Okay. And so this is more informal, you know, direct questions in this case. And these are indirect or more formal. No questions so far? So far, so good. Okay. So this slide, you can see a lot of different examples and phrases normally that we use to open indirect questions. Here, for example, can I ask, or can I ask you, do you have an idea? Would you mind telling me what, why, where, who do you think, blah, blah, blah. I was wondering if, I wonder, I'd be interested to know, I'd like to know, I want to know what happened, for example. And normally, this is very important. When we use indirect questions or phrases, we need to think about the order of the examples. So look at this. Are you living in London? In this case, you can see the verb. In this case, the primary auxiliary verb here are, then living. Yeah, the typical order of the direct questions. But here, you know, in the dependent clause, which is the second clause after if, it's not if are you living in London, it's if you are living. So that's why it says positive word order. It's because this thing transforms in this case into this positive word order. John likes flying, not does John like flying, it's whether John likes flying, so we eliminate does. I'm not sure if she went shopping, so we eliminate did, and we need to conjugate the verb here, the main verb, in past form. You tell me whether she was a teacher. No, was she a teacher? It's she was a teacher, right? So very important. Remember that after the connector, in this case, you need to use positive word order. That is something that normally people forget easily, and it's because people get used to this, you know, word order. And so be careful with that thing. If it appears in the test, be careful when you speak English in Europe. Okay. Can you think of more examples with indirect questions? Now we got here more examples, like, do you know what time the class starts? I was wondering what the teacher is, you know, where the teacher is. Now, where is the teacher? Do you mind me asking what she's doing? And so on, right? So we got all of these prompts to start an indirect question or an indirect phrase in this case. And then you continue. And remember that with yes, no questions, we use if, whether. And with open questions, we use pretty much the question word, which then the change into relative adverbs and relative pronouns. Any questions about this? No comments? All right. So you got two links here so that you can practice in this case. I'm not going to practice right now with you guys because we don't have like too much time. And I prefer to continue with the review. Still got 20 minutes, so we can review pretty much like hopefully everything. Which is going to be in the test, of course. And so phrasal verbs in general, you know, phrasal verbs normally are called like that because you got a phrase. You know, you can form a phrase with two more words, and verbs because they indicate actions, and you can have double phrasal. I mean, like phrasal verbs with two words or with three words. Normally, you include a preposition in that case. It's basically a verb plus preposition, right? And when you start changing the order, you know, changing the combinations, you also change the meaning. For example, phrasal verbs without, in this case, leave out, show out, let out. In this case, let out somebody or let out something, like let it out, you know, déjalo que salga, let it out. Lock out somebody, sort out, clear out, wear out, run out, and spread out. Okay, of course, you got more prepositions to make like endless combinations forever. So, you know, the English is a dynamic language. It's alive, and people create new words every day. So, mm, 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 mm. Live out in this case does not include something. Show out is lead a visitor who's leaving to the door of the room or building and stuff like that. Okay. We got more verbs without. Lo que pasa es que está con out porque estaba en el listado de los temas. Entonces, uno tiene que pasar esa materia, pero en general, cuando se habla de phrasal verbs, I try to pretty much like explain what is behind the, you know, the phrasal verbs, like the logics behind that. And because otherwise we should be like learning and memorizing endless lists of phrasal verbs, and that's not the idea. But anyway, we got more verbs without, like put out, hand out, break out, pass out, check out, and make out. Now, if you check out the test later, you will see that phrasal verbs are pretty much integrated in the exercises, in the questions, you know, in the items in the test. It's not like what is the meaning of pass out. So there are no questions like that, you know. They are integrated into texts. For example, there is a lot of use of English in this case, like collocations and what is the right word here in this gap, for example, or create examples, you know, like sort of creative grammar and stuff like that. It is an applied grammar test, basically. So normally when it's pointless to start memorizing long lists of phrasal verbs. For example, if you know you got a dictionary, like I can't tell you do not use a dictionary. I mean, I can tell you that, como hoy no uso un diccionario, como, pero I can't control what you do. So if you're going to use a dictionary, you can double check the meaning, and that's it. That's going to be quick, you know, because the focus of the test in this case is the application, not checking out your memory. It's like pointless. It's how you use structures, and that's a little more complicated sometimes. Okay, so that's it with this presentation. So yeah, the idea is to in the test is to double check, in this case, the grammar, and double check the word order, so that you can use you know, phrasal verbs properly in the contexts that are going to appear in the test. What else is in the list? Hold on. Estamos con correlative coordinators in this case. Yeah, correlative. They were around here. Yo los había ponido por aquí. Stories. Correlative conjunctions. Let's say correlative conjunctions or coordinators, which is pretty much the same. All right. Correlative, in this case, conjunctions or coordinators. In this case, they are used to join phrases or words that carry equal importance within a sentence, right? That's pretty much the function. For example, every night, and then we can use, for example, either or, neither nor, not only but also. Okay, that's one group of correlative coordinators in this case, or conjunctions. Also both and. Creo que ya nombré either or, ¿cierto? Neither nor, which is negative in this case. Rather. In this case, rather or is another correlative conjunction in this case. And let's check out the examples. Like to, in this case, to use either or, in this case, again, we need something which is equally important. Talking about the subjects or talking about the nouns in this case. Every night, either loud music or fighting neighbors wake up John from his sleep. So basically, we're putting loud music and fighting neighbors in the same level. You know, so one thing or another, right? But they both, in this case, interrupt John's sleep. All right. O es lo uno o es lo otro. Neither nor, ni lo uno ni lo otro. So in this case, neither Deborah nor Sally. So Deborah and Sally are pretty much in the same level. Express her annoyance. Right. Now, check out the word order, which is really important. Normally, we put neither first or before the first noun or pronoun. In this case, like neither Deborah nor Sally, then we put nor and then the next pronoun or noun in this case. Or in the first case, it's a verb, for example, or no verb. It's they are also adjective noun in this case. But you can also use them with verbs, of course, right? So in this case, pretty much the same thing. First either, then the element, which is in this case loud music, or and then the next element. Okay. You can start a sentence with either neither, or you can have it like this. For example, every night, comma, every day, comma, last week, stuff like that. What else? Not only in this case. Equal grammatical units need to be incorporated into the entire sentence. What I told you, like things with the same level. For example, not only, and then we're starting the phrase with not only, right? Not only did Mary grill burgers for Michael, and then but, that comma, but she also fixed a steak for her dog Vinny, right? So we got, did Mary grill burgers for Michael, and then she fixed a steak for her dog Vinny. So pretty much the two actions in the same level in this case, actions in the same level or events, right? And we use not only then the first phrase, which is normally this event, you know, starts or marks the tone of the whole idea, you know. Actually the tense too, because it's did, so it, you know, it's the past. So then the next sentence, you know, like the sentence after but, you know that it's in the past form too. But she also fixed, you know, past form. It's not okay, grammatically speaking, to see, for example, did y después dice will. No, it's not coherent with the structure, right? What else? Both and in this case are inclusive. You know, she's both intelligent and beautiful. Integrative or integrated in the same person. And what order? Remember, both and then the element and the second element. It replicates in pretty much in the whole correlative conjunctions group, you know, que se ponen como primero el primer, digamos, el opening correlative conjunction y después el otro el que complementa, ¿cierto? With the next element. Here, Here we were not starting the phrase, in this case of the sentence, we're not starting that with either, for example, or both. We're not starting we are placing, in this case, a subject plus an auxiliary verb, right? It is possible. It is, absolutely, right? I will either go, normally this happens when there are, um, uh, you know, auxiliary verbs included. For example, number one, she is both. I will, Jerry is, he is, would you. So you put the, in this case, the subject and the auxiliary verb first. Then after that, you start putting the correlative conjunctions, right? I will either go for a hike, that's the first activity, or, and then the second activity, stay home and watch TV, okay? Jerry is, then, you know, the first correlative and the first element, neither rich, and then the second element, nor famous, right? Normally in the same level, always in the same level. He's not only intelligent, but also very funny, you know. Would you rather go shopping or spend the day at the beach? So normally there is election when you use rather, or there is election implied. Not only intelligent but also very funny. It's also integrative in this case, you know. There's no election. Jerry is neither rich nor famous, like none of them, ninguna de las dos, and so on, right? Any questions about correlative conjunctions at all? She's neither polite. I think this is number 2. Yeah? She's neither polite nor funny. No, oh, qué pena. Ni educada ni entretenida. O divertida. She's neither polite nor funny. Yeah, good. Entonces, if you want to do this, like practice, I mean, you can have all the pages open when you're doing the test. Like I can't control that. Ya, así que, pero espero que les vaya súper con la prueba. ¿Ya? No la diseñé yo totalmente, como les digo, porque viene de coordinación. Yo hice algunas sugerencias, ¿no? ¿Ya? Así que eso. Tenemos 6 minutos. Creo que alcanzamos a ver una cosa más. Correlative coordinator. Si no hay preguntas sobre correlative coordinators, creo que alcanzamos a ver el uso de unless, as long as, el phrasal verbs out, ya hablamos de eso. Passive nos faltaría, ¿cierto? No creo que alcancemos a verlo ahora. Pero básicamente los contents de la prueba están todos aquí en la columna del calendario, para que le echen una miradita. Todo esto. Ya. Este vocabulario está medio entre medio, así como es como casual dentro de la prueba. Así que double check that with a dictionary if you want. And si es que encuentran una palabra que no sepan. Ya. Pero la prueba está basada básicamente en la aplicación de grammar, right? Veamos unless and as long as. As long as le digo yo. Entonces, as long as. Es como esos típicos chistes fomes que igual uno se acuerda después y se ríe de la fome que son. Hold on. Unless, as long as. Where are you? As long as. As long as. Creo que tengo ejercicio para acá. There you go. Yeah. All right. Unless, you know, as long as in this case they belong to a group of in this case, expressions, very similar also to providing, provided that, right? They all belong to the same group in this case. They have similar meanings, as you say, providing, provided that, as long as, unless. Sometimes they are interchangeable, but sometimes not. It depends on the context. They're used before saying the conditions that make something else happen or be true. Unless is similar to if not. También tiene la opción de usar if not in a phrase. Test your understanding of these expressions within this grammar exercise. So remember that also, I mean, some people say it's not good to use contrastive grammar, but sometimes it works, but not all the time. Normally, when we say, for example, unless is a menos que, providing, it's pretty much like si se da la condición, okay? Mientras que, like in this case, provided that, tiene que ver con eso, se tiene que darse una condición. As long as, in this case, sería así como mientras suceda esto, no problem. A menos que es una, en ese caso, es una condición, pero como en sentido negativo. If not, tiene que con if not. Si esto no sucede, que pase otra cosa. You know? For example, we can win the championship. We avoid bad injuries. All right. And so it's clear that if you, for example, put unless, it's not going to be logical, you know, because it's like something positive. We're talking about something in the positive, sense. Like we can win the championship siempre y cuando we avoid bad injuries. No es a menos que, right? So in that case, the answer is clear, right? Correct, dice aquí, right? Providing has a similar meaning to if. Suppose if or providing. Number 2, par de minutos, I will leave now. And then you got unless, as long as there is anything left to do now. Any ideas, guys? Maybe you can use the chat or the microphone, whatever you want. I will leave now.
¿Se me escucha?
Yes, Cristal.
Ah, ya. Unless, quizás.
All right, let's check. Correct. Very good, Cristal. Unless has a similar meaning to if not. Thank you. Thank you, Cristal. All right. Unless has a similar meaning to if not. The next, we can hold the party in the garden. It doesn't rain. We can hold the party in the garden, provided or unless it doesn't rain. Coronavirus.
Creo que voto de nuevo para unless.
So we can hold the party in the garden unless it doesn't rain. All right. A menos que no llueva.
Profe, una pregunta. ¿Qué quería decir provided?
In this case es como siempre y cuando.
Ay.
Provided or provided that, providing, también es siempre y cuando. Entonces, por eso que a veces la gramática contrastiva funciona, porque uno dice, a ver, aquí dice, nosotros podemos tener la fiesta en el jardín siempre y cuando no llueva. Suena bien. Pero si decimos, a menos que no llueva, es como, You got it? There you go. So which one is the correct answer in this case, guys? Any ideas?
Provided, quizás.
Provided. Veamos el chat, a ver. El Fabián dice provided to. Correct, dice. Provided means on condition that. ¿Cierto? Entonces, con la condición dice de que no llueva. Entonces, lo que hay que hacer también aquí es como imaginarse la situación. No solamente traducir, sino que hay que imaginarse el caso. ¿Cierto? We can hold the party in the garden, si vamos a la fiesta, ¿cierto? ¿Y qué pasa si llueve? Ah, no, no se puede hacer. Entonces, siempre y cuando no llueva. Porque si tú le pones a menos que no llueva, es como a menos que llueva, sí. Pero no es el sentido de lo que dice acá. Si yo le pusiera unless it rains, a menos que llueva, ahí sí funciona. Pero decía it doesn't. Se tiene que fijarse en esto también. En el contexto lingüístico, imaginarse la situación y dice, bueno, si llueve no se puede hacer. Entonces, en fin. So if you want to practice, like I normally recommend to use this links and web pages so that you can support your knowledge, or remember what you know about the contents so that you can do the test properly, okay? Como les digo, en un mundo ideal, una coordinación y un profesor o profesora les va a pedir, ojalá que hagan la prueba sin mirar el diccionario y sin mirar las páginas web. Lo puedo pedir, pero de ahí que pase es otra cosa. Así que, pero si van a ocupar, úsenlo para support the knowledge, right? Porque como es de aplicación, no es solamente buscar en el diccionario, yeah? It's much more than that. Okay, so thank you very much for coming today. I don't know if you got any other doubt or question. Ya como les digo, voy a subir la prueba a la sección de Ucampus Tarea. También voy a dejar un mensajito en el grupo de WhatsApp para cualquier consulta. Ya la voy a subir, la descargan, la hacen y la suben. ¿Sabes lo que pasa? Que yo diría, oh sí, mándenmela por todas las vías. El problema es que cuando yo digo como mándenmela por cualquier vía, es como me la van a mandar por WhatsApp o me la van a mandar por el correo de... no es por ser pesado, pero me carga el correo de Ucampus. Se usa el institucional, ¿no? Pero ahí ya es cosa mía, ¿no? Pues si alguien me manda cosas por el correo de Ucampus, así como igual me llegan y está bien. El tema es que tengo que andar buscando por todos los canales, y como, a ver, me lo mandó por aquí, por aquí, por aquí, por aquí, por aquí, así. Entonces, por eso se me complica. Prefiero normalizarlo, dejarlo en uno. Así que, digamos que vamos a usar solamente la vía de las tareas, ¿ya? Pues lo voy a subir a tareas y me lo mandan por tareas. Sí, después yo veo, ¿no? Podría decirle, oye, sí, mándenmelo por Google Docs para que me sea más fácil corregirlo. No, olvídalo. Va a ser un caos. Entonces, descárgalo por tareas y después lo suben de vuelta por tareas. Y ya está. Ya, para que si los compañeros les preguntan, es por tareas, se descarga de tareas y sube a tareas. ¿Listo? Si yo después veo nomás que estén todo de aquí voy a ver de aquí al jueves cómo está la cosa. Ya. Eso pues, chiques. Ya, have a great day. Cuídense, please take care of yourselves. Hay que cuidar el cuerpo y la mente y el corazón para que esté bien. Ya, así que take care and have a great day.
Muchas gracias, profe. Que esté bien.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
You too, Fabian.